And I wanted to talk a little bit about what brought me to the Metabolism Society almost a year ago. I was finishing up my dietetic internship, which is a grueling 9-month experience, which I don't wish upon anybody. And I was looking for a way to break out of the mold of the regular dietitian and find an organization that would support that effort. I have been a member of the Weston Price Foundation for about 10 years. I was a chapter leader for about 5. And I actually have been very involved with that organization, and I think that kind of stimulated my entrance into the world of high-fat, if you will, diets. I don't like to tiptoe around we all talk about low carbohydrate, but it actually ends up being a high-fat diet, and I think it's important that we recognize that. So, because I learned that fat was not my enemy, I was seeking a place that other scientists and medical professionals shared that opinion. And this is what we are, okay? So I thank everybody for everything that they've contributed, because it's been immensely helpful to me right now. I'm working with weight loss, and especially to Adele and Valerie. And Adele, yes, they're excellent. Adele, she's been my mentor. She's really helped me with some of the stuff she's done at Dr. Westman's weight loss clinic, and I really appreciate that, because we all need mentors, and that's what dietitians need. Unfortunately, right now, dietitians' mentors are of the old school, most of them, okay? We don't have progressive mentors in most cases, all right? I like to think of dietitians as the soldiers on the front lines, all right? The scientists and the medical doctors are basically the generals, and they're sending us out to meet with the patients. But we're very, very good little soldiers. We don't question authority at all. That's most of us, okay? And our hands are tied in many cases. In the hospital, the doctors write the diet orders. We can talk to the doctors about changing the diet orders, but we can't change them ourselves, okay? In most cases. I think there's a couple states where that's an exception. In fact, that's so ludicrous that I've actually seen 95-year-old women who are thin as a rail on a low-fat diet because the doctor feels their cholesterol is too high, when all they really do is need to eat some food, and all they really want is a piece of cheese. And I had to basically sneak cheese up from the hospital cafeteria to feed one lady once because she wanted cheese so badly. And all the dietitian who was in charge of my work said to me, "Well, just make sure it's low-fat." I'm like, the woman wants cheese. Just gonna give her some cheese. So anyway.
I just want to interrupt. I'm an MD. I'm a general internist, and I want to say that I'm a general internist. I'm Roxanne Sucom from Cleveland, Ohio, like Weston Price. And
you're Weston Price.
I want to say that I think that hospital food is the next frontier. I'm shocked that you found real cheese in the cafeteria.
Well, I don't know if you would call it real cheese on my standards, but at least it was cheese, and not cheese food. But I mean, basically, I had to sneak it for fear of major repercussions to my...
It's really a jungle out there, I agree with you. The dietitian in the hospital that I work at won't look me in the eye in the hallway anymore, because I've been ordering low glycemic index diets for my diabetics for at least 5 years now, instead of the ADA diet. I won't order that.
Well, speaking of the ADA diet, and that actually has, the ADA, as everyone may or may not know, stands for either the American Diabetic or the American Dietetic Association. And for me, it's mostly the American Dietetic, which I'm a member of. But we really follow suit with the American Diabetic Association. We don't really step out of line with that. So I had collected some and I forgot where I was going, but I just want to note that I collected some information off the internet from, I don't know, 7 or 8 major organizations that promote good nutrition, supposedly, and summarize some of their key messages that they're putting out to the public, and that will be available on the website. One of the worst ones was the NIDDK, National Institute of Diabetes and Kidneys, or I forget, diabetes, disease, and kidneys, or something like that. It is the absolute worst. They're recommending an outrageous amount, and for kidney patients, it's terrible. But anyway, I just want to make you know, and I'm going back to what I was thinking before.
On the Metabolism Society.
Yes,
it's not available. It will be.
It will be. Okay. But people are looking for scientific information. As much as I feel the Weston Price organization has fantastic information, and I brought a brochure for everyone who would like one. I don't know if I have exactly enough. I think people are looking to feel that the science of the day is validating what traditional diets or paleo diets have shown. Okay, people are not comfortable when they have a disease just going, oh well, you eat what your grandmother ate or eat what your ancestors ate. People are very uncomfortable. They want to be assured that the medical community is behind them. Okay, and therefore I think this is really important that we reach out to dietitians. I'm trying as much as I can to be a leader, but it's almost like blasphemy. It's almost like blasphemy. And I do have to tell you one thing. When Richard was talking about that triglycerides are basically an indicator of carbohydrate consumption, this is actually known by dietitians. Dietitians know this because the director of my program basically took one day, and remember everybody in the class is 20, I'm 50 plus. Everybody in the class is like, oh, it's the amount of fat they eat that raises the triglycerides, right? And she said, well, actually, no, the carbohydrates have a bigger effect. But now they know this, but how does that translate to what we're actually taught? Because we're all in fear of stepping outside the guidelines. We're all fearful. We're all walking around like, we've got to do what we're supposed to do because that's what's right. And I've sort of put some bugs in people's ears, but still, it's just hard for people because you understand, we're all afraid of being sued, just as much as any doctor would be. And truthfully, unless we have a doctor to partner with, it's very hard for us to do our work. Because the doctor has to be on the same page as we are to understand the medication changes that will be needed and things like that. We don't have the authority to do that. And I tell you the truth, I'm a little fearful, especially with, I saw Mary Vernon's talk on DVD last year from the ASPB, and how that rapidly blood pressures can drop and people can become hyperglycemic. So it's got to be a team effort. And dietitians need to be educated. We certainly don't want to put a rift between them and us, meaning us as an organization, because they really think they're doing the right thing. They really believe it. We've got to honor the fact that they're really trying to help. And we've got to bring that information to them in a way that's friendly and supportive and not accusatory. And I'm not saying that everybody's doing that. I feel, or anybody's really doing that, but I just feel like we've got to be able to bring them into our camp and be friendly. It's got to be done. They're gonna. The ADA the American Dietetic Association wants to keep their what's the word? Their aura of being the source of the best nutrition information in the world. And this is a big marketing campaign. It's a big, and we pay money to be members, so we expect that. I've gotten some clients looking for dietitians off the ADA website, and they get a little surprise. But anyway, I tell them beforehand that it's not going to be. Anyway, I think that's all my time, but I did want to mention that Valerie and Adele and just a tiny bit me, because I didn't do enough, but are working on this project to help revamp school lunches. Dr. Vince Davis, what's the state we're working in right now, this activity school? What state is that in?
No, Kansas.
Kansas, thank you. Is our pilot school. They seem to have accepted the changes that... Well, I think so, yeah. I mean, so they say they've done the changes. We haven't actually seen gotten feedback, have we? But supposedly, under our guidance, they've changed their menus to reduce the carbohydrate to about, 30, 45 grams per meal from something like 100, I think it must have been at least. And some were almost all carbohydrates. Oh, so you didn't? Okay. It was very, very high, so we've actually brought them down to...
It's the model for school lunches. They have a whole thing where they just put it on one.
I'm sorry, I can't hear you.
Websites.
Okay.
Pennsylvania is now the model for school lunches. Reducing and getting junk out.
Okay, well, we're trying to get the junk out, but the junk is obviously subject to interpretation, right? It's not the meatless Mondays that we've all started to hear about. It's not that, all right? So kudos to them and Vince for bringing it into the school, and we hope to continue that project. And if anyone knows another school who would like, these are professional services schools would actually pay a lot of money for, and we've got that little RD stamp of approval, which means something in this world, I think, still. So that's basically it. Was there anything?
Did you want to know about, we're doing in my daughter's school, we're doing what's called Anderson Wellness in the Schools. And so a couple of top chefs are now making salad bars and trying to get rid of the macaroni and cheese, and instead of just getting the food, heating it up and giving it to the kids, they're teaching the kitchen staff how to cook. And so they're now preparing, the chef has bought them knives and cutting
the
boards.
school has some money, because that's one obstacle we are facing. You realize that the
Yeah, well,
USDA
the
lunch
parents have
program.
to raise it, and we do
Yeah.
it in auctions, and,
We're working against a system that's, commodity foods.
yeah.
And there's a certain price point that the schools are willing to. It's gonna be a challenge in that way. We're probably gonna have our best success with private schools, because they may have the option. I mean, if people are spending money for their kid to go to private school, I think they want the best for them.